Funnily enough, there's no actual like intro that I can avoid going and actually getting this started, but we're here to talk about this game, Ninjabread Man, which is I think pretty infamous for being, well, one shovelware and two, pretty not even worth mentioning, but we're here to talk about the RA set. We're gonna do a quick, like, little speed run, hopefully, see if we get anything good. But if I fail, it's no problem. But it is a 3D platformer that uh, basically is pretty infamous for being very lazy, along with a bunch of the other stuff that the developers ended up working on, and it's overall just a pretty shitty time. There's nothing really of note to this game. It's 3D platformer. It has some basic like movement, has basic hitboxes, except some of them are really wonky. You fall through the floor, and a bunch of other stuff. I'm actually going to start speeding this up if this doesn't work out, because straight up this is like pretty miserable. But we're going to try and do the speed run. Because there is an achievement for it, which is what we're going to be talking about. But I want to talk about the game. First off, the overall tone of this for the PS2 version is pretty on par with a bunch of the other uh, PS2 games that you'll end up like playing that shovelware. It has a general like theme, and it's very basic. It's definitely one of the worst shovelwares out there because there's just nothing in it. There's nothing special. We're going to go through all the levels. Your main goal in most of the levels is to collect these little power sources that you can see right there. It doesn't take that long. In fact, it's most of this can be done in like 10 minutes, even with loading screens. Without it, it's like less than 9. At the same time, this is mostly just a runaround game. There's other game modes, specifically uh, there's the find all the collectibles or get a basic score. Thank you, game, for doing that for me. But and then there's the one where you need to do certain time attack, which is pretty easy. Let me see if I can not die here. Never mind, we died. We're not doing the speed run, so we're gonna end up stopping at the end of this level because there's no reason for me to keep trying. But when it comes to the overall game, there's 4 game modes, 3 levels only, and at the same time, why did I miss that jump? But at the same time, there's just not enough content because you're in the same 3 levels. The hidden objects one you think would be interesting because you would do it at the end of like uh, all the other ones just to like know where everything is. Ooh, that was close, but it ultimately doesn't really matter because of the way they hide stuff. It's very generic and it doesn't really matter. But I do want to talk about the set because while the game is maybe a 3 out of 10 at best, uh, I happen to think that the set is actually really well designed. Usually, when it comes to these freebie games, you know, the joke games on R8, it is actually really high scored and it's impossible. Like, it's asking to do speedrun strats, it's asking to do so many different things at once that it becomes too much of a burden to be a good set for. While it is a bad game, you still want a good set. And I feel like this is a pretty good showcase. I do think it's scored a little low, but at the same time, it's not really that big of a deal. I'm talking like 100 points versus 80 here. It's not going to solve world hunger by saying that it needs 20 more points, but when it comes down to it, I do feel like this set is really well designed. It, of course, has beat all 3 levels in all 4 different modes, which is very basic for retro achievement standards. But at the same time, I missed my chance, didn't I? Yep, and I'm gonna die here. But at the same time, I feel like it encapsulates everything about the set. There's nothing that I think is really in here that I think is missed. And while it is a low content game, there is a couple bonus achievements that I think are really stand out. You, of course, have collect everything possible, which usually is very frustrating in that game mode specifically. But because this game has very linear levels and small levels at that, it feels very, very on point. Not to mention, there is the pretty, not famous, but the harder speedrun achievement in the game. Oh, we missed. But there is a achievement that is you have to beat the game in 8:55. Loading screens are not counted, thank you. But you can also like do speedrun strats. There's little death warps you can do. We're not doing it because we're not doing speedrun anymore. But overall, I do feel it's a very fair challenge achievement. It's not hard, but it's definitely not easy. It took me exactly 2 tries to get it, which, I mean, once you learn the game, you get it down pat. I will say there's a lot of waiting around in this game if you aren't speedrunning, though. I'm going to be doing speed up here. But the first level is the main big area, and it shows by being the longest one by a long shot. And I feel like the game serves itself well for a pretty quick and easy achievements that I need to speed up here. Is it? It's like right here, right? Come on, there it is. But I think it serves itself well for it. I don't think this is a good game. It's probably a 3 out of 10. But I do want to give credit to the set itself. I think having a very simplistic overview of a set doesn't necessarily mean it's bad. I think it has a couple of challenge achievements that I stand by as being good. And while the content is fully explored, I don't really see any extras that I would want. Don't get me wrong, I don't want to play the game anymore, but there's not a lot else that I think is really available. What, genocide? Maybe a genocide run where you kill everything, but even then, that's being like very picky for something that is not very fun, especially since they respawn. And I just died again. There's damageless, which trust me, as a RA player, I don't want damageless anymore. And there's no bosses to have anything interesting. So, above all, I think this is a really good set. This is one I would recommend to play if you aren't looking for points, but looking for a badge. It's not the easiest set on the site. It's definitely not hard, but it fits a lot of molds that I think is really nice to have for a PS2 set. If you're looking for PS2 badges that aren't necessarily an awful experience, this is a pretty good set for it. The game, it's definitely 3 out of 10, but I'd give the set a nice 7 out of 10. Really well done, and when it comes to everything, it makes it kind of worthwhile because that's basically it for right now.